In this video, dated March 4th, 2014, we're going to take a look at the customer and everything that has to do with the customer. This is the third video in this series. We're going to start by logging on to the demo account. Now, to get to the customer information, there's essentially two ways. We can go in here to the customers page, where we have a complete list of the customers, or throughout the website. Anytime you're in certain records, like here in the invoices, you can open up the customer in a new page, and this is a dedicated page just to this customer. And you'll see this open customer throughout the site. Just allows you to open the customer from different places within the site. But if you want to go to all your customers, and that's what we'll be demonstrating today, go to the customers page. Let's go ahead and just work across all these actions. New customer is pretty self-explanatory. Open that up, add your new customer. The only thing that's required is a last name. So if you just want to create invoices based on a last name, you can do that. You don't have to put any of this other information in. If you want to set up a pricing matrix just for this customer, you can do that here. Phone and email, pretty straightforward stuff. Your phone types, phone numbers, and you can always create new phone types by clicking on this create new icon. Just close out of there. Customer notes. Here you can put notes. Maybe this is the greatest customer ever, or this customer's birthday is such and such. Just allows you to keep notes on all your customers. Communication information. We're going to get into the marketing, customer relationship management, service reminders a little later. But this allows you to essentially opt out this customer from emails, from regular mail, from texts, from the newsletters if you want to publish those, from follow-up surveys. Now this one here, this is something that's still in the works, so you may see that here and go, where's the texting? Well, there's the texting functionality has not been activated yet, and we're working on that. Communication information, again, you can group your customers. Maybe you want to have some that you do send service reminders to by email but not mail. Maybe you don't want to send them to friends and family. You can use these groups to sort through that. And again, we'll get into this in greater detail later in this video series. And then web info. The Smodco site has a companion site called Smodco Auto, and that's where your customers can go and look at their invoices, any vehicle documents you might have uploaded. Maybe you uploaded a technical service bulletin or a diagnostic trouble code printout, or maybe pictures of some damage, and the customer can go there and take a look at that stuff. And you have complete access over what your customers are able to see. First, you don't even have to let them set up an account. If you do let them set up an account, you can always block it at any time, and you can control each document. Invoice history, you can block certain ones from being seen by the customer. You can block the images, and you can make those changes at any time. So it gives you pretty much complete control over what they can see and what they can do on that site. And again, that's just a quick primer. We'll get into the specifics of the Smodco Auto site later on. So that is the basic customer information. We'll go ahead and cancel out of there. And to get all the available actions at the top, you need to select a customer. Once you've selected a customer, all these actions become live. Until a customer is selected, you can't edit, you can't delete. So that's why you don't see these actions until you've selected a customer. Obviously, you can add a new customer before you've selected a customer. Edit, pretty much the same thing as adding a new customer. Same basic layout, only you cannot enter the email or phone here. They're now in a different spot once you've started the customer, but customer notes, the communication information, the web information, it's all the same as the new customer form. Obviously, you can delete your customers here. Not highly recommended unless you really, really want to get rid of them, because it's always nice to keep them. You may want to look back at service history or any sort of information that might have had to do with that customer. Again, it's there if you want to delete them. I tend not to delete any customers because I never know when I want to go back and look at what payments they made or their vehicle information. But maybe you enter 2 vehicles and you want to get rid of them. You could certainly do that. You could just go ahead and delete this one. And it's all gone. Now let's go ahead and select this one so all our actions become live again. And we can email this customer right from here, provided they have an email address, which I don't think this customer has. Let's go ahead and put in one. So you can actually email the customer from the email addresses or from here. Just click on email. It fills in the customer's email address automatically. It fills in the from address using your company email address from your company record. Puts in your company name. And then we can use our save subjects, or we can just type in our subject and message. And if we want a copy to also be sent to us, we can click Send Copy, click OK, and we've just sent an email to both the customer and to ourselves. Look up by. We could try to find customers by email address or by the last 4 of their phone number. So let's go ahead and try that. Email address. May return a few. You can see quite a few of these have our email address there. Let's go ahead and try. This may return a few less results there. There's just 4 of these. And you can see they all have that free smotgo at Gmail address, and that's why they came up. To clear this out, we just click the X right there, and that brings all of our customers back. And we can look up by the last 4 of the phone number. Okay. And there, again, 4 of those. And if we look under the phone info, you can see that a very common phone number, 12345678890, and that's why it returned these records. And again, to clear that out, we just click the X. Next, let's take a look at importing. We can import our customers right into the website. If you've got hundreds of customers in a comma-separated file or an Excel spreadsheet, you can just bring those right in without having to key in each one. Let's go ahead and search for this import demo customer. I have 2 customers with the last name import demo 1 and 2, and I just want to make sure they're not there, and they're not. So let's go ahead and click import customers. You can use this file template to get a better idea of the format that imports best. In this case, we're just going to use an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to go ahead and choose that file I have ready to go. Now we need to make sure all the fields line up, which they do. There's 2 records. It skips the first line because these are descriptors. Let's go ahead and put in our email address here. We'll click import. And you can see it imported those 2 customers right into the program. We didn't have to hand enter all those. Let's go over here, check our email. Import of customers has been completed. You can see I've done a few others, but there it is. It's the last one. It processed 2 records and there were 0 errors. Let's go ahead and just pick that customer. Actually, let me search for another customer here. This is one of my favorite customers because she's got a lot of information, and that's why I picked her. Restore deleted. If you did delete a customer by accident, you do have a way to get them back. Click Restore Deleted. Pick the customer from the list. Click OK. And that will restore that customer. Now let's go back here to Sarah Dakota. Sarah Dakota has 3 vehicles. Now we'll get more into the vehicle information in one of the future videos. That'll be the next video. And from here we can add a new vehicle for Sarah. We can edit any of these vehicles. We can delete any of these vehicles. We can actually start a work request right from here. We can jump to this vehicle. That would take us over to a specific page for this vehicle. And again, this is the page we're going to be looking at in the next video. We'll go ahead and jump back over here. More. We could import vehicles just like we did the customer. And that'll be covered in the vehicle video. We can restore deleted vehicles just as we restored a deleted customer. We can jump to the vehicle from here. It's kind of redundant between here and here. Or we can open the vehicle in a whole new window. And this is the same page we just looked at, only it's in a new window, not the same window, in case you don't want to leave what you're doing here. The phone info, that's pretty straightforward. We can add a new phone, we can edit this phone, or we can delete it. Let's go ahead and edit this one. It's some pretty basic information, the phone type, the phone number, and a note if you want to make it. If you want to create a new phone type, you can do that here. Or you can click on that. That'll bring up our menu or choices. We can add it from here. And the last choice you have is maybe you just want to get rid of the phone type. Any of these lookups, this little eraser just erases whatever's in there. I could click OK to save that. And you can see we now have no phone type. Email addresses. I'll jump back right quick to the phone info. If you remember on the new customer, we were able to put the phone number and the email in their form when we created the new one. It separates those out. If you notice, we can only put a limited number of phone numbers and email addresses in that form. I know most customers probably aren't going to have more than a few of those, but by putting them down here and making them separate records, it enables you to put as many phone numbers as you want for this customer, as many email addresses as you want for this customer, and that's why they're separated out. We consider this a parent record, and these are all children of this record. So now we'll jump back to the email addresses, and again, it's the same as the phone info, only it's really just the email address. There's no other information that goes along with that at this point in time, so we'll cancel there. The ledger. The ledger is the financial transactions. You can see here this invoice number. It debited their account $529.44. That means that that was a cost to them. And then they made a cash payment of $150. And they made another cash payment of $379.44, which brought their balance to zero. Now this ledger is also available from inside the invoice. You can go in there and put the payments in there. You can put the payments in here. Or from the home page, once the invoice has been processed through, it's going to show up in accounts receivables, showing that they owe that amount of money, and payments can be entered there as well. Usually the most common place to enter the payments or the new transactions in ledger is on the invoice itself. And you'll see a list almost identical to this under the invoice. We could go over here to this other window real quick and go into this invoice just so I can show you exactly where that's at. So here under customer info, you have a lot of the same information that was on that customer page. You have the basic information for the customer, their phone information, their email address. Here is your ledger, and you can put in your transactions right here. The date, you can select the payment type. Again, you can add a new payment type here with the new icon, or here. If you want the payment to show up on the invoice, I believe I demonstrated this in the quick start video, but you need to select the invoice here, and then that way this payment will print out on the invoice. If you don't link this payment to an invoice, it's not going to print out on the invoice. And then of course you'll put in the credit as a payment, and you may want to make any note to go along with that. So let's cancel out of there and go back to our customer page. So that's your ledger, your payments, your charges, invoices. Currently Sarah Dakota has 5 open invoices, and of course we could jump over to these at any point in time. We could jump to the vehicle information. We can email the customer from here as well. We can email them an estimate. We can email them the invoice. We can email them a link to this invoice or estimate where they can go to the Smodco Auto website and view the estimate without having to log in. Go down here to more. We could print copies of these in any of these formats: Excel, TIFF, Word. It will use the layout that you have set up in your default, in your company information, but then it'll use these formats. And maybe you have your invoices set up normally as PDFs, but for some reason you want to print this one in a Word. Maybe you want to add a note to it. You can open it up in Word, make your edits, save it, and then print it or send it off to the customer via email. And then back just takes us back to the most previous page. We're eliminating a lot of these, so you may not see this if you come to this page. Appointments. This is a list of all the appointments that this customer has had or has. And we could jump to the vehicle from here as well. We can create a new work request based on this appointment. We can create a new appointment right here for a customer. Kind of working left to right to left now. Next, let's take a look at send reminder email. Let's go ahead and create a new appointment. Let's pick this Volvo. Let's set the appointment date for tomorrow, 8 a.m. Not going to be waiting. Just coming in for an oil change, an LOF. Just put it down as a half hour. We're going to send the email reminder to this email address. Now if you set this up anything greater than 0, 1, 2, 3, it's going to do it automatically for you. 1 day in advance, 2 days in advance, 3 days in advance. We'll just leave that at 0 for now. Click OK. That's good. There's that appointment, 3/5. We can go here and send the email address or send the email reminder manually. And while that's sending, we'll very quickly look here at the print. That allows us to print all the appointments on the list. This really isn't much use here under the customer information. It's much more useful under the appointments page. Let's go ahead and over here, go to the inbox. You can see we got a nice little appointment reminder. It's a courtesy reminder from, this is the current name of the demo company, and when they're scheduled to bring the vehicle in, ask them to reply to this email or give us a call if they can't keep the appointment. And then if they want to be removed from any future emails, just ask to do so. And I ask when a customer does that you go in and change that setting under the communications to no email. That way this customer won't receive any more emails. Let's go back over here. And then there's quick quotes. We'll get into how to create a quick quote in one of the later videos. But this allows you to create a quick quote or a quick price for a customer without having to start a new invoice or work request or estimate. You can do this from the main screen. You can do that from here. It's just attached to the customer. You don't have to attach it to any particular vehicle. You can set these up under just kind of a generic customer if you want. That way you don't even have to create a new customer to create quick quotes. We just have a customer name, quick quotes. And if a customer calls in, wants an estimate, we can just go under that customer, create the quick quote, and give them a price without having to go through the whole process of creating a customer and a vehicle and an invoice and an estimate. And again, we'll demonstrate how to set those up or how to create those in the future videos. That concludes the video on the customer and the customer information.